What's going on, guitar people? Jimmy Pitstick here. We're going to be going over a classic today, Sweet Home Chicago. So let's do this thing. Now, I'm going to play it like Eric plays it, and we'll play along with Eric Clapton here in a minute. But we're going to go over a couple things real quick. First of all, we're going to go over this intro right here. So when we do the intro, we're doing an E, and then I'm going to add my fourth finger right here. That is a D on the B string right there. E, F, G, A, B, C, D. When I add that D in with the E major, that makes it a seventh. People go, why is that a seventh? Because you're adding the D in. Now, some people will play this where they take their third finger off, and that's off the D string, and you play. And that's cool too, but for simplicity's sake, let's start with an E major. Everybody knows how to play that. Just add the fourth finger here, mute that high E when you add that. That's the intro right there. E, I'm going down, up, adding the fourth, down, up. Now, instead of going to an A here, I'm going to make an A with my second, third, and fourth finger because the next chord we're going to is an A minor. Real simple change. Instead of... You can do that, but it's a little, you got to move quicker. Anyway, you got to move more fingers rather. Now, what did I play? I played an E, E7, A minor. And that's just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then I'm going to take that shape, move up, come up to my E, and do 2 beats on this. 1 and 2 and to the B7. 3 and 4. You need to make that change from E to B7. How do I do that? Well, the easiest way to do that, third finger goes up, third finger goes down, first finger goes up. I'm in that little triangle shape, and I'm adding my fourth here. So, anyway, let's do that intro. That's the intro right there. Then we go into the verse. Now, Clapton starts this song off with the verse. So if you play, you're going to want to play along with his track, but he starts on a chorus rather. So a chorus, what we're going to do on this, on the chorus, we're just going to start with an E, and each one of these guys is going to get 4 beats. I'm going to do an E, A7, A7 right there, second finger, 4th string, 2nd fret, 3rd finger, 2nd string, 2nd fret. I said 3rd fret, 2nd fret. Both of these are on the 2nd fret. Okay, here we go. Verse E, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, A7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 E's, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. I'm going to the A7. I'm going to add this 4th finger right here on that high E on the 3rd fret. Back to the E. B7, A7, intro. Now, what I was doing is when you're switching between chords, let's say I'm going from an E to an A7, that last 8th note, that last up, 1 and 2 and 3. I'm hitting open strings, and it's going to sound cool when you do that in full speed. You can just practice that over and over again. What I'm doing with my right hand is I'm doing what's called a shuffle. I'm down, up, and I'm hitting that downbeat a little heavier than that. Now that you've got that down, you can work your way through the intro and the chorus. Then what you can do is watch my left hand right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do like an E chord, and I'm squeezing to the wood, but as I come off, I'm still keeping my fingers on the strings, but I'm relaxing my hand. On the downbeat, on that downbeat, I'm going to the wood. I'm squeezing 1. The those are the first two chords of the chorus, and what I'm doing is I'm just taking that E, and I'm kind of slacking my fingers a little bit here, so I get some mute strings in there. You know, you're always taught to stay up on your fingertips and stay off those other strings. Not with blues. We're kind of like jazz players. We want to kind of mute out some of those extra strings. These two guys are kind of muted when I slack these fingers down a little bit. Same thing with the A7. When I kind of slack it, I'm muting the high E and I'm muting the G string or the third string. Otherwise you get those ringy sounds, not as cool as. So anyway, it's another way that you can kind of bring this blues feeling to your guitar by just kind of slacking those fingers a little bit and muting some of those other strings. It's just keep playing it, man. You'll get it eventually. Now, so what we're doing here, let me put it through the whole, let's play it with Clapton here in a minute. We're also going to hear a verse that comes in. I want you to pay attention to that. So I'm going to turn Mr. Eric Clapton. This is called Sweet Home Chicago, remastered 2015 YouTube. Here you go. Just a bunch of E's. Now A7. A7, turnaround, intro. Now he's into chorus. Turnaround, B7. A7, intro. Now, when I said turnaround, every blues song, most of them have a turnaround. It's always a 5/4 turnaround. The 5 chords, the B7 to the A7, because what's my 1, 4, 5? E, A, and B, okay? So we'll talk about that later. But anyway, bottom line is all blues songs are 1, 4, and 5 for the most part. Now, I want to talk a little bit about when we hit those two E's in the middle of the chorus, like where he's doing the come on, baby, don't you wanna go? I was just holding on this E, but what I want to do is I'm going to do an E to an A. It's going to sound really cool. What I'm doing is I'm doing that A with my second finger because it's just real handy right there. Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Now, the reason why I'm doing that is you could play 4 E's. What I'm saying is you got 2 bars of E. Bar meaning 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's kind of boring just to play those 4 bars of 2 bars. A bar's 4 beats of E. So I'm gonna go E to A. I'm gonna do that 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Baby, don't you wanna go? Turn around, be sent back to the land of California, my sweet home, Chicago. Now, when he gets into this verse, like the 2, 2, 2's 4, 4, 4's 8. Come on, darling, why you trying to make me late? I'm gonna select another A7 here instead of going to this. This is fine, but you'll see a lot of blues players doing an A with their like this with their first finger. They're barring that and they're putting their second finger on the high E. That's a great chord. Now I see some students want to use your third finger here. No, it looks cool like that. Just bar that, put your second finger on the high E, third string. So going back to that verse, let's see if we can hit it right here. Baby, don't you want? Turn around, B7. I'm sorry. Baby, don't you want? I was premature. There we go. Here we go. There's the turnaround. A7. Here's the verse. 7. Turn around. Intro. Now, we're in E. If you know E pentatonic, you can play anyway. Great tune. I hope you guys can just get a little bit from this and go out and play Sweet Home Chicago. Have fun.